Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Sage Leaf Studio and we are working on some paper today. I actually want to make I guess you would call it a folio. Um, I want to make just a little, it's just a super easy one fold folio and put some tuck pockets in it and make it to where I can put a bunch of bookmarks in it for someone who has a birthday coming up and they are an avid reader, and I want to give them, I'm actually giving them a few books for their birthday, but also a bunch of bookmarks because she is one who, and I wish I could do this, but I can't, but she is one who has more than one book going at a time. I can't do that. I can barely keep up with one book. So, but she is able to have several books going at one time. So she needs more than one bookmark, I think. And I've given her some over the course of time, but I wanted to give her, something a little to keep all of her bookmarks in when she's not using them and where she can easily find them. So I thought it would be cute to put it all in a folio for her. So today I'm working with Stamperia, Stamperia, Stamperia. Um, I'm working with their uh, set called Imagine. And I just love this set. It's just so sweet and just has a lot of botanical um, elements to it. It's got some, well, reading, writing, uh, ephemera elements to it. Actually, and this is the 8x8 set. I don't even know if they make a 12x12 in Imagine. I'll have to look that up. But I've had this and I've actually already made a couple of things out of it. And I've got the rest of the components, sorry for any glare, in my in a folio here. Usually what happens, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to remember the name, so I labeled this my little file folder here. Um, but I usually go ahead and cut everything up because I can't stand, there's so many like fussy cuts and little labels and tags and things, and they're lovely, but I can't stand having to try to like stop and cut them out, as I need them. I'd rather have them all cut up. So I usually just kind of take and try not to spill this out all over the place, but I've already taken and done the tags, and actually some of the things are maybe some tags, but also leftovers from, like I said, I already did a project. I even, I mean, like, I guess that was on the front cover, on the back of it. And so, and that's even like a little, like a little strip that could be used, but that was also actually from the website address on the front cover. But anyway, so I've got several pieces that I can work with here, cute little tags that they had already ready to go, and some of them I need to kind of trim up a little bit better. I was probably getting tired. I sit and do that sometimes while I'm watching TV, and um, but sometimes I get kind of tired of doing it. Yeah, that's like the back. And so there's just, several things to choose from. That's also from the back. So I'll probably utilize some of this stuff. This is all pretty small, and of course, because it's the 8x8 set, everything's a little bit smaller than if you got a full 12x12. You'd have some pretty big tags. But anyway, fun stuff. And I was looking at these other sheets. I chose this one to be the folio because I just thought it really was pretty, and I love the inside of it too. And I actually thought I cut up, this was a page, and I cut it in half, and I think I'm going to use this to make the large tuck pockets that I'm going to put in here. So That way there's a book. This one said something about P.S. I still wait for you. Well, it's not a love letter. It's just for her to, keep her bookmarks in. So but I thought that would be pretty on the inside. And the thing about these pages is that they're so, like, look at the back of that. And of course I'm gonna waste that because I'm gonna glue that down and you're not gonna see inside there. But the thing about their stuff is it's so pretty, and you hate to embellish it too much because you're just covering up great stuff. So I'll have to kind of figure out what I'm doing in here. But anyway, I saw this page and I thought it was so pretty, and I was thinking, well, if I could cut it into thirds and make 3 bookmarks out of it. Now, this is not, this is kind of the regular cardstock, so it's not super stiff, but I could certainly add some stuff to the back and maybe the front a little bit to kind of stiffen it up. Maybe some other paper, card, that sort of thing. I could put it on some cardboard, but then I'm not getting to see the back in all its glory, which again, I'm probably going to cover part of that up anyway. But I thought this would be pretty, and I was like, okay, I definitely want this face over on this side, and this would be pretty too. But then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. So this, I'd almost have to cut it on that seam that they've kind of done there, because I hate to cut into well, definitely the word art, but if I did it in actual thirds, I think I'd get into that art. So I don't know, but I definitely am going to use one piece of it. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute. And this was really a cute page 2 with all the cute little dresses and stuff. Thought that was pretty neat. Love the backgrounds on these. Lots of roses, lots of floral stuff. This is not as much a favorite, but it could work. I like the patchwork part of it. It's just a little more country-ish. This is sweet, and that could be cut out and used for something. This is kind of, oh yeah, this is pretty. It's a little, I don't know, this girl here looks a little weird, a little stark-eyed, but she's pretty. But there's some kind of cool, almost looks kind of Asian or old-fashioned-y. I don't know what that is, but anyway. And then this is kind of neat too. So there's a lot to choose from, and I don't know. I'm also going to use some elements from some other stuff that I have. So I've actually already got a piece here. I've got a book. I've got some book pages that I had glued together, and it's from, I can tell it's from a children's storybook that I have that is just, was already in just a horrible mess. I don't like tearing up books unless they're just, on their way out. And so this one was one that I know it's the children's book because there's the story of Rumpelstiltskin. So so that's in there. But anyway, I thought maybe I would use that. I think that would fit really well in one of the pockets. This was a piece that I got from, where did I get? I got this on Etsy. I'll throw up the name of the artist, the Etsy artist that I bought this from. This was a set that you just, download and print. And actually, I printed this on some cardstock, and it didn't do well with my printer. It kind of, I don't know, I think ink even comes off right now as I don't know, maybe I won't use that, but it's it's kind of fuzzy, but I like it actually. And this is actually now that I remember when I printed it, this is a tuck pocket. It's a side pocket, and it had a little tuck mark here, a little notch, I should say, for tucking there, but I just wanted to use it. I just thought the ladies were pretty, so I just tore that part off and thought that I would use it eventually, and maybe I will use it here as part of this bookmark. So I wanted to have some other things, and see, that'll look great in there. I wanted to have some other things besides parts of this set, but I do want to use those. Oh, and here's another one. And this was a bookmark I already made for I was going to just stick it in one of the books that I'm giving her, and I made it. And I think this is the same Etsy seller that I got. As a matter of fact, I've got a larger sheet of that over here that I printed out, just trying to figure out what to use. Like here's, yeah, it's actually, I don't know if I have. Yes. So this small, this is the larger version. I just, sized it down when I was printing it, but, and there's the other side of it that matches that page. So anyway, I thought that was really pretty, and I found this ribbon that looks like leaves, and it's really kind of cool. I'm going to use that. I may use that in another one as well, because she also likes plants and stuff. But anyway, so I wanted to use this. So I don't know if I'll make it a separate tuck pocket or if I'll put it in one of the pockets that I put down here. But I wanted to use that too. Or maybe I'll just put it in one of the books, and that way she'll already have it in the book. So I've got that over there. God, aren't these gorgeous though? Look at these. I'll put a link in the description to this Etsy seller. And these are all just lovely botanical prints, and I'm going to use those somewhere. So I digress. Anyway, so here's what we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and get busy figuring out about, I've got to kind of cut this right in half, but obviously I need to give myself a little leeway, because I don't want it like, I can't just very well, fold it, because it's going to make a crimp in the middle and look all weird. So I'm going to grab my cutter. I'm going to scooch some things out of the way. Let's see, I want you to be able to see. So we already know, let's do this right. Let's get the measuring going. So we already know that it's 8 inches. And so I'm going to go to 4, but I'm going to go just a little bit less than 4. Let's say about a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so we know that one is, yeah, that's going to work out great with the, I may take a little bit more off just because I want to really define those edges. But that also means that this one is now a little over 4, obviously. So I'm gonna, I kind of like that edge, but I don't want it to look too much different from, I better just take the edge off, because I want you to be able to see that it was one continuous piece in the middle. So you'll know what I mean here in a minute. So I'm going to actually go a little more than a 1/16 here. Okay, so just get that strip out of there. I'm trying really hard not to keep strips. I'm so bad about keeping the tiniest little strips, thinking I could use that somewhere, and then I've got all these little strips. Okay, so yeah, this looks good. There's a little bit of room all the way around. So I am going to go ahead and take a little bit of this edge off as well. So get it to right in there. So it ended up being like 7/8. So 3 7/8 is what we're going to go with. But yeah, that looks good. Okay, so let me get rid of this for a minute. I'm sure I'm going to need it right back out. So I'm just going to set it off to the side. And here we are. So I'm going to grab some, actually, before I do my glues, I'm going to go ahead and reach over. So you have to look at my arm. And I'm going to do some fairly decent size notches. I think this is my, what is this, my 3-inch? No, it's probably 2.5 inch. I'm going to make a notch right in the center. You know what? I should do them both at the same time, and I'll bet you I can, because this is a really strong cutter. It almost scares me sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to go right there. Yeah. And get that back out of the way. All right, there we go. Now I've got them flipped. All right, those look good. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round. I guess I'll round all the corners. I'm going to do just a really small rounding on the top of each of these. And I'm going to do the next size on the bottom. Yeah. So do that. So that looks good. And do this. Ow, my finger was in there. Let's get this going. See if I can keep all these little bitty pieces from just flying all over the place. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be very good and put them in the trash right now and not hold them over. I'm sure I'll find one later. But anyway, so this is looking good. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I do want to go ahead and I'm going to round the edges just see, there's some right there. I'm going to go ahead and round the edges of the whole folio. Come on now. You got to be careful with these sometimes. Sometimes you think you have them seated right in the corner and you do not. And then it gets a weird cut, and it's sometimes you can fix it if you go with a bigger cut, and sometimes you can't. I'm going to go ahead and do the corners too. So let me get that done. Are you in there? Yes. Okay, so now I've got all this all over the place. So let's just go ahead and get rid of those. I know it can get really messy. So I'm trying to keep that calm. And I'm going to go ahead and do some inking now, because I definitely want to ink my pockets. And they're a little inky looking, like you can kind of see some distressing that they've done in the actual print. But I want to go ahead and define and, you know, get rid of those white edges, just so it doesn't have to look grungy. Grunge has its place in journaling and junk journaling and doing ephemera, but I'm not trying to make this look grungy. So there we go. Yeah, I'm just using what am I using? Walnut stain on this. It's just a nice dark, I don't know, would you call it neutral? When it's, I guess so. It's kind of a neutral dark thing. Okay, so I got those done. And I'll just get this going. It's just such a pretty paper. Love it, love it. And this is a good day to do this. It's got a lot of natural light going on because we've got a sunny day and everything's looking good. And I hope everybody's having a good sunny day at their location as well. So there we go. And who doesn't find inking kind of soothing? Okay, so I've got, oh yeah, that looks good. I gotta tell you, I love it when it looks like that. I don't know. Dirty, let's don't call it dirty. Just worn, weathered, antiqued. I mean, when you see old papers, you know when it's real. When it's really been sitting around and the elements have been getting to it. It's just something so cool looking about it. So, I'll get this done. And that way we won't have to worry about it. And if I, end up adding anything that goes off an edge, we can re-ink whatever that is that goes off the edge. So, but at this rate, we're all set. So there we go. Get this out of the way. Out of the way. Okay. So, yeah. There's our back. And we're ready to go now with our glue. So we'll get this kind of lined up, make sure it looks the way we want it to look. And I don't know how long it's been since I shook this, but I can imagine that I need to give it a little bit of a zhuzh. All right. So we're just, look at what we're covering up. But you know what? It just has to happen with this double-sided paper. And, you know, it's funny because I have so much paper that's not double-sided, and then I'm fussing because, oh, I've got to add something to the other side of this, because even if it's something that's going to be inside something, you're still going to see it. Not something like this, but if I'm making a different kind of flap or something, it's got to have it's got to have something on the other side. It can't just be white or whatever. So, okay. So this is looking pretty good. Make sure lining up. Please line up. Get a little. I always feel like I want to just push that top in just a hair, just so we have a little bit of a give right in here. So let's make sure that's good. Okay, be letting that dry, and give this another bead. Try not to get too wide with it, but I can't imagine that I'm going to have anything too terribly wide in here. But you know, oh, I kind of got going there. Some things might be kind of closer. I think that one book page that I already glued up is going to be okay. I don't think it's going to get in the way of this glue. So there we go. All right. And just lay this down. I want to try to stay the same. Definitely in the center here, stay the same width away, same measurement away from the spine, if you will. And that's pretty close on the edges, I think. Yeah. Yeah. And the height, you know, we don't want, I'm just going to push that together just a hair. And now that's going to dry, and it'll dry quick. It'll dry really quick. So let's just make sure. Yep, everything stayed in place. So I think we're good as far as that goes. I'm going to set that aside. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut. I want to be sure and use this one face. So I'm going to cut that. And I don't know. Let's see. I used to have it written down. Oh, yeah. 8 inches, like a third is like, it's like 2 and 10.5/16 is a third of 8 inches. So it's like 2 5/8 and a little hair. But I think I've decided I don't have to worry about it, because I'm not gonna, let's see, what would it look like? 2 and 5/8 and a hair might be about right there. So that actually is probably pretty much what, let's see, as far as what we're talking about to fit here. Let's put this back over here for a minute and lay her. So if we, oh yeah, she's going to fit fine, because it's only going to be right in there. So that's going to work in those pockets. So just make sure I don't get something too crazy going. So 2, let's see how this goes. Okay, 2 5/8 and a hair. All right, let's just go ahead, because I know I've got all of her face in there. So that looks great. That's what we want. And that's how she's going to go in there. See, I didn't, let's get it in there, get it in there. So there we go. Yeah, looking good. She's going to stick up, and that's okay, because I actually don't mind that stuff is going to stick up past, I mean, they may not all, but it's okay if some do, because I don't mind it showing from the other side. And there's going to be, I don't know, I mean, they're going to put grommets or punch holes and put hole reinforcers or whatever up here, and get them looking more like a tag or a bookmark. And those can stick up, because I'm sure I'll put a ribbon. I don't know yet. Anyway, I just realized you can really see a glare from my ring light on on my cutter. So sorry about that. Sorry for the glare. So here's what we came up with. The other, oh yeah, I was going to measure. I wanted to measure and see what this looked like. Just for grins. So what'd I say? 2 5/8 and a hair. So here we are at 2 5/8 and a hair. Right there. So it's going to cut right in between. Where am I? Right in between. It's going to cut the A out and it's going to leave it on this side, and the RT is going to go over on this side. So I don't really want to do that. If I were going to do this, I think I'd just bust it up like this and make it to where, we end up with it right here, because it's okay that these tags and that tape look is all on this side. And plus, there's something being said here. I'm not going to take the time to read it. And also here, although that's, I don't know, I think it might be Spanish, or I'm not sure, but it's another language that I don't know. So anyway, but I hate to cut up too much of that kind of stuff. Oh, here's something. We walked in silence, parting the night as we did. Our words were stars that lit the sky, and our kisses, comets that set it ablaze. Oh my God, that's pretty hot. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about that side for sure. Maybe I'll come back and grab this side if I need it. So anyway, but I'm definitely interested in using this one. So let me get that glary thing out of your eyes and see what I think we ought to do with this. So I really don't want to mess with her face. This is not bad. Maybe I want to put like just a torn page there and then embellish it. I've got a couple of pieces kind of laying around here. Something kind of, yeah, I don't want to do something too stark, because if I put something stark on it, I want it to be on the outside, on the top. I'd rather, so I'm going to just take this and see how this looks. I'm not making any promises that I'm using it. And see, evidently it looks like I tore it at a seam. But anyway, that's got a little bit of white. So I like to make sure that I tear away. How do you explain that? You know what I mean, though? So like on this side, oh yeah, that's got some writing on it. You're seeing the white, hairy part of the tear, whereas on this top side, you're seeing some of it, but you're seeing. Let's move that so you can kind of see more what I'm talking about. But see, it's just more of the color. And then I want to use pretty much this whole piece. I'm just going to tear all these little tidbits away, which are also known as right edges, straight edges, I should say. We'll get rid of all that. And then I think I want to put something just right here. So yeah, but what does it need? Inking first, because it needs to show up. It's a little muted, and this is a little muted, so Again, I'm not trying to do anything too stark there for this. I'm just going to use glue stick on this. I'm just going to do it on my hand. Since it's not a huge format, it's not a big old piece, I won't bother with laying down my magazine that I like to glue onto. And if you can hear that engine outside this window, it's because the next door neighbor is trying to back a trailer in, and it's really kind of noisy and irritating sometimes. But they do that a lot. They work in construction. Okay, do I want it this way or this way? I think I want it this way. It seems like this is a little bit wider at the base. I'm going to go ahead and just add this right here. I'm not too worried about, if it's terribly parallel since I have so many different edges and widths, but that looks pretty good. Anyway, they work in construction, so they're constantly moving trailers in and out, and it gets really noisy. Anyway, so now I feel like I want to add something to, maybe I want to put, do I want to put some words? I definitely want to put, I printed off a lot of different things, and I almost always print off read a book because I like to either put that on a tag, or I like to put it, like if I'm doing something like this, a folio or a journal, I'll put it, I could cover up that love, but I don't mind the love being on there. But I could put this, somewhere. But do I want to put that on there? Because, yeah, maybe. I might put something. I might embellish the front with something, just a little bit of something, and put read a book. But I also could put it here. But I'm not ready yet because that's just not enough of a contrast. Plus, I want to put something pretty there. So I'm going to go ahead and tear this, put that back in there. And I'm going to grab about the same amount here. And I'm not going to keep that little tiny, tiny piece because I have lots of little tiny, tiny pieces that I've torn. And it's like, what am I saving them for? But occasionally I do use them. So don't make fun of me. I know y'all. I know you people. I've watched enough videos to know how this rolls. And by the way, this is really my first official video. I've been doing this for about a year now, and I've made several things and I've really enjoyed it. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'd like to share. I have a few, maybe some different ideas. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe I've gotten them all from you guys that watch these and that do these. But I think I've got some other ideas. And I certainly have plenty of ephemera, really old stuff, but also the new stuff because, it's sort of a disease, I guess, and I'm not mad about it. But anyway, so I think, yeah, I'm just going to drone on about it. But I've made a few things, and I just thought that I should maybe share. So here I am sharing. I've got some, well, that's kind of pretty. It's kind of big. Let's see. Got all these kind of, let me get this over here so y'all can help me look. Just holler if you see anything. Holler if you see anything you think I should use. Okay, I kind of like these. They're tiny, but they are more muted. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's pretty. Now that might work. Maybe I want something with a little more pink. This has got too much red and yellow. Here's something. Let me make sure my phone stops stinging me. My watch and my phone. Oh, that's pretty too. Hang on. I've got a few here. So I'm thinking maybe. And this, I didn't finish popping the little holes out of. That's pretty. Actually, that's kind of cool. I almost wish maybe this read a book isn't going to go on here. Maybe that's going to be another thing. I don't know. Did I already try this one? That one seems really big. Yeah, it's too busy. It's too busy. I like this, and I like the fact that it kind of fits on there and kind of hang off of there. And then I could put a little, like a stamp or a little tag there. Again, I don't want to cover too much of this up because it's just so pretty. And lest ye forget, it's a bookmark, and I don't want a bunch of huge, bulky, three-dimensional things hanging off of it that are gonna. I mean, you mostly want your bookmark to kind of lay flat inside your book. You don't want a big bulge, and then your book is trying to stay open on you. So anyway, okay. So I think I'm definitely using this, and then I'll figure out if I'm going to put anything else around it. And I do feel like it needs to be inked, so we're going to do that. Yeah, just a little. I mean, it's already pretty muted around the edge, but good God. And it's kind of got, where it got cut, because these are more like a die cut, and so I'm sure they use a die, but it leaves little stringy, hairy things here and there. So I'm just trying to get some of that off of there. Okay, so on something like this, though, I do want to use this glue. Did it dry up? No. I'm amazed because I did not put my pen back in. And it reminds me of, I'm sure all of you, if you don't, you should watch Julie with Camilla Craft Designs. She's one of my heroes, and I've learned a lot from her. And she's so funny, and she's funny about her glue bottles, not putting her pens back in her glue bottles, and getting dried up, and then she's always losing her pens. And girl, I know exactly what you're talking about, lady. It is not a lie. So here we go. I'm just gonna kind of wiggle this around. I'm not too worried if I end up with some glue hanging out here and there, because we know that it dries clear. So I kind of like that there. Yeah. The camera never does this stuff justice. I mean, it's just so pretty. It's not washed out looking at all. It's very vibrant in its own right. So okay, so I've got that. Now let me see what else I've got that I can use. Read a book is going on here. I think it's going to go right there. And I may come back later and do a little more. I may do some stamping, actual stamping on it. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and I'm going to get my glue stick. I'd really like to get this one bookmark done. So I'm liking that. I don't know if I'm going to put anything on the back. Maybe. Kind of stiffen it up, actually. Because I like it if you can, why does a bookmark have to be just one way? Maybe one day you feel like this, so whatever this is showing is your next deal. So I'm going to go ahead and I think on this one, I'm going to round. I don't want to use, I don't think I want to use any of my fancier cuts. Because, when you're sliding them in and out of the pockets, if they have like little extra tabbies and stuff, sometimes it can kind of get them torn up. So I think I'm just going to do the really big rounder on this, and then I'm going to go ahead and make it more like a like a tag. So I'm going to cut, I think I want it about like that. I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to turn it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. There we go. So there's two pieces that are basically the same. I dare you to, well, I don't dare you because we could probably figure out that those might be a little bit off. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good though. But I'm going to go ahead now and punch a hole. I think I'm just going to put a paper, I call them hole reinforcers. But I'm going to go ahead and get that sort of going there in the middle so that, here we go, I can kind of see where I'm at. If I end up putting anything up above on this other side, I don't want to run into it. Actually, you know what I could do is I could wait to do that one, because what if I do get up in there and then I can just re-punch my hole and then put this on over top of whatever I put on here. But I doubt I'm going to go up that high. But we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to get this going and see about inking it on this side at least, so I can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And clearly I'm not able to talk and ink at the same time, because really I'm having this conversation in my head and I'm not necessarily needing to say it out loud, but I know that you guys need to know what my thought process was, or what's the point in doing a video, right? So, okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to put this off to the side and grab my lid on my glue. Grab this little guy because I need to feel accomplished. And I'm going to stick this right in here. And I like that it, you know, her face is like, you can see what's going on here with her face, and she's not too covered up. And then I've got to find something, a ribbon or something for that. And maybe I'll do all the same kind of ribbon or something, but in different colors. Okay, so I decided on this ribbon. I believe this comes also from an Etsy. I really don't buy that much stuff on Etsy, but evidently I do. But this comes from, I think her Etsy shop is called Scrappy Cabin. I don't know. Again, I will put a link in the description because her ribbons are great. They're crinkly and great colors, and you can get them in sets. And I like that. I don't know why that's bunching up on me right there, but I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go with this. I'll fix that here in a minute. But I think that looks like what I want it to look like. And I can already see that my glue is coming up. See, that's what I hate about putting stuff on these marks or on these tags. And I'm going to glue this down with this stuff. It won't be coming up after this. I'm just going to run my bead of glue through there. Yeah, that whole thing was going to come up. We don't want that happening, so that's what I'm saying. I just hate when they're, you know, when there's a lot of wear and tear and you're sliding stuff in and out constantly, and then you end up with something that gets stuck or caught, and then you're ripping it up or causing problems. So we don't want that. So I'm going to let that dry and not put it in there. But we will know that we're letting that dry. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Okay, and then I'm going to work on, I want to work on this one because I don't want to forget that I've got it going on. So I think I like the idea of this having sort of a rough edge on this side. And I'm kind of excited that it says talks about, so you can see that it was Rumpelstiltskin. And this is even more hairier over here, but I think I want to put it on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't even know if I want to round the corners on that one. I may regret that, but for now I'm not, because that's how I roll. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink this up a little bit, especially since I tore it, and it, even though I tore it the way I talk about that I like to do it, it's still pretty hairy. See how it's just, sorry, see it better if I would, oh, I don't know, maybe you can't see it any better, but that makes more sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and get this inked, and since it's such a big piece, I'm going to use my magazine so I don't make a huge mess, sticky mess on my cutting mat. Make sure you can, I love this ink because it's purple. And when it's wet, it's purple. And it dries clear, and I can see where I have it and where I don't. Let's see if I can stick it to the Costco magazine before I get it stuck on here. Anyway, and then just place it. And I'm not always worried about placing up against the left-hand side of the page, but in this instance, since that's where the straight edges are, it makes sense to me. So I'm going to just scooch that over just a hair. Does it seem a little crooked? Maybe. I'm not caring that much. And since it's such a big format, I'll go ahead and take my folding tool and get it matted down there really well. Okay, so I don't feel like, oh, look, I'm leaving marks on it. I don't feel like, yeah, that's probably from the fact that, like I said, this is kind of a weird ink. But I don't feel like I need a whole lot more going on this side. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe. And then I'm going to round this, all these edges, instead of, I'm going to go ahead and use the large one too. I'm going to go ahead and do it now while I've got only, let's see, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 book pages, and then plus this, but I'm not getting into it that much. But I want to get it done now before I add anything else. It's going to add more thickness because this thing can go only so far through so much, and then it'll start bogging down. So anyway, so there's that. And what am I going to put on the back? I'm thinking this is a good place. Actually, what if I incorporate some of the paper, one of the papers from the set? Okay, I had to deal with something there for a minute, so I made a decision. Can y'all believe it? I actually made a decision. I'm going to tear this part because I do want to use it. I'm going to be very careful and try to get right on the other side of this stitching. Well, I'm kind of using part of it and using not part of it. But I want to grab these tags that are printed on here, Dream, Imagine, Create. I actually used the actual tags that it came with of those already on the other thing that I made. And I'm going to have to look and see what that was that I made. and maybe I can show you at the end of this. Anyway, so see, here's a good example of there's that really hairy white part that I don't necessarily like. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and then I'm going to keep ripping because I want this whole thing to be ripped and edgy. I mean, it's all edgy, but just keep going here. But I don't want to get it too small. Do I care? Yeah, I don't care if we see that stitching because it may not make sense. It may look like, oh, so you tore that off of one end of a piece of paper, which yes, I did, but it doesn't have to look like that. Okay, that looks a little weird with that kind of tail down there. Okay, so I like it right in there. So I'm gonna, again, grab some ink and give it a good inking. Give it a good inking. So I'm gonna figure out where I want that, and look, I've kind of got a mess going here. I'm gonna grab my inking page again. It's already dry. Oh, it'll be sticky, but it'll be okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and get that on there. Get the edges really good because we already saw what happens. And I think I did have the edges good, but it just happens. Sometimes the ink doesn't want to stay. Maybe I didn't rub it down as good as I could have, which I probably should do with everything, not just the large format pieces like this, but the small little things too. I'm not sure how much more I'm going to put on this because I really like just that whole thing. I don't know. I keep feeling like there's something else that could go on these. Actually, that's kind of cool. Or over on that side, it's a little, I need to trim it up just a little bit. Sorry if this is glaring. Let's put that over there. Those people are staring at me. They want me to take a trip, a Costco trip. I did already read that. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of that being down there. So that kind of gives this side of the tag something different to talk about, literally, with words. Let's do that. And let's use our precision craft glue from Barely Art. I wonder why it's barely. I wonder what, I always do this. Got my finger in the way. But I wonder where they came up with that name. I'm always interested to know, how did companies come up with their names? I mean, sometimes it's a given if it's like a family name, so and so and Sons. Okay, I'm locking it for right here. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. All right, and then back over here. You know, I feel like it needs, maybe it needs some washi tape, or maybe this is a good place to put one of those stamps. Maybe that little stamp guy would look good there. I don't know. I'm holding out. I don't know. That's kind of cute. That's kind of cute. I don't mind that. And again, I may come back and stamp with stamps with the stamper. with the rubber stamp. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, kind of like that for there. I mean, it's sort of like a mini collage on each side of the bookmark. Lined up here. That's good. Yes, I'm mumbling to myself. Sorry. I have a real bad habit of talking into my, what do they say? Talking into my shirt collar? I don't know. Something like that. Okay. So I'm liking this. I'm liking this. And I reserve the right to come back and add stuff. But for now, I'm real happy with this. So I'm going to go ahead and punch another hole. Right, kind of in the middle. I could do some off to the side. It's not unheard of. I am going to go ahead and cover up both of those. You know, I just remembered I didn't do one on this side, and I went ahead and put that. Well, you know what? I got to fix that ribbon anyway because something, I can't get that little bump out of there, so I'll fix that. Okay, I'm definitely going to use this little piece here. So I am pretty sure that this, oh yeah, that's what that was, is a straight edge up here. I'm just gonna wiggle it around until I get it to a width. Oh, look, I left my ink out. Y'all didn't see that. Good. I'm just gonna cut that. So now I have a straight edge over there. And I'm thinking, I don't really know which direction. I think this way though. And I really don't need it to be very wide, but somewhat wide. So I think I'm going to do it about right there. Because all I want to fit in there is this tag. So it could even be smaller. So I'm probably going to do it about, I mean, I'm not going to measure it because why? I'm going to set that off to the side. This is going to be it. This is going to go in there. Yeah, and it'll stick up. I'll probably put it up like this so that it sort of overlaps. And that way you can kind of see it there. Or maybe I'll do it kind of over here. I don't know. I hate covering up that. Do I want it there? Do I want it over here? No. I really want it over here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I'm going to round these edges to soften them up. Yeah, see, I didn't have that in there good. There it goes. Sometimes you got to watch. Get that out of the way. Yeah. No. Do I like it better that way? Or that way? Okay. So I'm going to grab my little, I need to clean that out. I'm going to just barely give it a little notch. And I am going to clean this out because I know that it's about to be an issue if I don't. So anyway, I think that looks good. Probably going to put it about right there. So I'm sorry, but Mr. Paperclip isn't going to get to be seen anymore. But that happens. Okay. And I don't, obviously, I didn't get it right in the center, but that's okay. I don't mind. I am going to put it up a little ways. We are going to see a little bit of the paperclip. I'm okay with that. Let me get my glue. See if I can get a good bead going here. I know a lot of people just do one skinny bead. And I can do it for short distances, but please don't make me do it for a long distance. Look, I'm making that all wider. But you know what? I can always just kind of get back in there. Because it's not happening if I'm not sticky. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. I'm kind of using this as my guide over here to make sure that I've got a straight edge. Yeah, so I think that's going to work. Okay, and then I'm not doing anything else to this. I'm gonna poke a hole in it. There's probably something else that needs to be cleaned out. Do I want to poke a hole in it? I like that little hole. I'm just gonna make a complete. Oh, you can still see it. Yeah, that's okay. It still shows a little bit. And I'm not gonna put a reinforcer around it because it's cute that way. And I may just put just the tiniest little string in there, but I am going to ink it because it's all about the ink. I'm going to leave that like that for now. And I'm actually going to, because it's really bugging me, I'm going to take this off and redo it. And I recall that I need to still put another little reinforcer on there. And I decided I'm not putting anything on the back of this. I think it's pretty. I think it will be useful in its own way without anything. This one says it all. So we're good. We're good on that bookmark. Let's see if I can get these lined up. Okay, getting out of frame here. All right, I'm going to go through this way. Let's see. I can hear, oh, there's a dog bark. Somebody's at the door. All right, I got to go deal with that, but I'm going to keep working along and I'll be back. Okay, so while we were getting that door answered, I made another executive decision, and I am using this color ribbon, which is a lot lighter than that color ribbon. And I did get that kind of fixed. It still could be a little... Okay, I could obsess about that all afternoon. But anyway, I like this color too, and it's, you know, since this is so muted, I think this will work well. And if I can get it positioned the way I need it to be, you're going to get to see me stuff that through there. It got out of hand on me here, like literally. Here we go. I just think these ribbons are just so sweet. I love the crinkliness. I don't know how she does that, but I just like how they're all crinkly and it's very forgiving. Okay, so I've got 2 tags so far, 3 tags. I've got this one, this one, this one, And I'm not sure what I want to, what string do I want to put in that, or ribbon. And then I've got this one, but again, I wasn't going to use this in here. I feel like I just need one, maybe one more. I still do have this. Oh, that's where we saw that dream, do what you love. I mean, I could use that and just make a shorter one that maybe goes in front of that one. I'm kind of liking that idea. Okay, now I'm back, and here it is. Okay, so if it goes down in here, it goes that far, and it's a little wider than that one, so that's okay. I'm okay with that. So it just looks a little bit womper-jawed to me, I guess because there's this kind of uneven mark over on this side, and then this side has a lot of room over here, but I could put something there. So So the question is now, should I use the same kind of ribbon? I do have some other, ooh, you know what? Let me show you. I might have, do I have a purple? I do. I have a purple. I've got this little bag. Let's just dig it out. This was a set that, in fact, I haven't used so much of this that it's not even out of it. Yeah, oh, here we go. It's My Scrap Cabin Shop. Quality paper crafting. So that's the Etsy seller that I got these sets from. This is called Sea Moss, and I love it. I could use that for that. I don't think I'm going to use, since this is such a tiny tag, I don't think I'm going to use one of these. I could use this one for that, because look, it's got this cute little, oh, I know what I want to do. I will use that other, I'll use this ribbon maybe on here, or I have another one that has some leaves in it that's got twine also, because I like that with that the rose petals right there. They're so sagey. This is a little bit, brighter, which I love for this kind of a mossy. Anyway, what was this one? This one's sea moss. So yeah, that could work there if I wanted it to. But this is kind of a bigger format ribbon, so. But I think that this purple will work great for this guy. And then I've got two different shades of pink. I've got this purple. I think that's going to be good. So I'm just going to give that a cut right there. And I'm going to gather all this back up. I'm going to leave the green out just in case I do end up using it, but I don't think I'm going to. But I don't know that for sure. This one might be longer than the rest of them. Let's see if I can. Okay. Kind of near the center. See if I can get that in there.